12-hour principle. So we have reduce, reuse, recycle already in place. Apart from that, do we recharge? Yes. Now with green buildings, we have started that. We replace, we can do refurbish, refresh, regenerate, renew, revisit, remind, and respect. So my next slide, I'll just shift to that, wherein I'm trying to explain what I mean by these words here. So when I say reduce, reuse, and recycle, we definitely look at these words on a very, very wide scale and try to frame a baseline increment for a project's efficiency. So how do we define the baseline? It is any standard that is applicable to the region or a prototype, or if you are going with IGBC, we will take that. We are going with GRIHA, we will take their baseline. So whatever certification we are looking at, we take that as a baseline. Or if nothing is available, I would say after your design calculations are done, you take that as a baseline and now try improvement. So reduce, reuse, and recycle. This is all we have been doing on regular basis. The next R, which is recharge, I think I forgot to highlight it, but it is having a very great importance here, wherein the rainwater, surface water, or any related source water can be taken back to the aquifer or the same source or the origin through a medium. Now here special attention is required because there is a likely contamination possible when we are taking this back to the source, and that is how some filters or some media is required. So that is how recharge comes into picture, and we need to enhance that. So I'll tell you what we are facing in Pune and Bangalore. Probably we saw the news in the recent times of flooding. So there are times where per hour rainfall has increased tremendously. So previously we were having a typical pattern in rains, but that pattern is no more applicable to us. And that is how your rainwater that is falling, it's getting segregated when it comes to timeline. So 1 hour we'll have sudden cloudburst kind of a situation wherein the water doesn't know how to react. The systems existing, they don't know how to react. And what is happening is flooding. The recharge is not taking place in the right defined manner in the system. That is why taking recharge to a next level is very, very important. Predicting a worst case of rainfall and designing a system for this particular recharge is important, so that we are not losing our comfort zone with regards to rains. Because today, in villages also we find that when it is not raining, we have all Bollywood songs and all, done for the rains and everything. But ideally, what happens that if it rains excess, it is also causing similar kind of I would say issues or destruction, which is equally hazardous to us. So it is important to recharge in the right ways. The next R of replace, wherein there is an option to replace the virgin water as and where possible with an alternate source. So we are looking at cooling towers now. We are looking at multiple areas wherein we can try not to use the virgin water and use recycled water. And still we are finding alternative sources to come into picture, and alternative use is also important. As I did mention in the last slide that we have excess water, we don't know what to do with it. Next is refurbish, and where we should look at the possibility of treating this water to meet our expectation and replace the source. So friends, in case you have excess water, the other person has the demand of water, but his expectation is a bit different, and he realizes that probably, no, I don't need such kind of water which is coming out of STP, but I need water with XYZ parameters. So probably we can explore some mechanism to meet his demands. So this can also help to explore the wastewater or extra discharge from unwanted sources. I will tell you that the buildings are being painted in the worst possible way with the terrace pots that they usually jot out from the balconies, and then the person keeps watering. Excess water keeps giving their own decoration pattern on the building facade. So these are all unwanted sources. So if we can actually look at some mechanism wherein we collect this extra water, drive it through a different source and recollect it at a place and use it. So I did this stupid exercise of actually understanding how much is this excess water. And this excess water was approximately 4 to 5 liters per day. Water coming out of excessive gardening, excessive watering in gardening, and second out of ACs. So a typical building of say 60 flats, G plus 12 was having this 4 to 5 liters of water coming out of it. So definitely, if the building claims itself to be net zero, it cannot, because that is still a hindrance. So the next part is refresh, which ignites the thoughts of rejuvenating the water. So many places, there is a problem that we have excessive water available, high groundwater, and we don't know what to do with that water. We still cannot use it in the project. And we look forward to the corporation sources or some other sources for that particular water use. So try and rejuvenate the water with a pond root zone system or aeration or something like that. So one of my projects that I did explain in the IPA conference as well, that there was a river which was a dead river adjoining a village, and it was dead, and it continued to be dead for a while because everything and anything coming out of that village was a part of that particular river. So we developed a root zone system around this particular entry where the water was meeting the river, and it was going through the root zone pond and further down in the river through a proper mechanism wherein there were no contaminants. So till date, after 2 rainy seasons, today we can see that the entire river bed is at least having a better view and clean. Not, I would not say it's a clean water, but not that dirty water which it was carrying before. So definitely some kind of refresh for such elements can prove very, very helpful here. Then regenerate. So there are countries where there's no water available and they are looking for desalination options because they don't want to import water anymore. And it is extremely important to restore our natural source and try to renew them as well. So 2 points I mentioned. First is regenerate. So you have water, try and regenerate the water for our use through a process that might be costly. And the second is, if some water body is available with us, try and renew them. Don't let them die. And renewing at proper intervals is also very, very important, because we will do something, we will take a campaign, we will clean the river bed today. What is happening tomorrow? After another month, another company comes and they will clean the river bed, same river bed again. Again, some thing will happen and they will do the similar kind of activity. No, it is important to have a robust mechanism to renew the water bodies at proper intervals. So the next part is revisit. Now, what is revisit is, I know it won't make sense to few people here, but unless and until we do some monitoring to this, it will not actually come into practice. So we are, driven by our human minds that somebody needs to just come to us and check what we are doing. And if we have some kind of compliance on our head, then we will ensure, okay, this I need to do. So we have to revisit our own position, our own part of working, and it becomes extremely mandatory to revisit things when we are talking of concepts like net zero, which is a mandate, because here you not only measure, you keep measuring it, and immediately you will come to know when you're revisiting, okay, there is some gap here in this particular problem, go and mitigate it. So this is how measuring water, its usage, treatment, and many other functions are being created in a water balance, and that stands equal both sides leading to water neutrality. And any project can actually meet this particular criteria with these few elements. And it is very, very important to keep reminding us, because we human beings lose our motivation very easily. So we do revisit, we do everything, and the minute, you know, when it's the time to sign the check for annual maintenance and other kind of things, we have to remind ourselves what we are actually looking at, what we need to do, and if required, we have to go one step further doing this. So very, very important to remind. And the last R, which we as this particular group sitting here definitely looks at it, and that is why all these activities are going on. But friends, come back to end user. They have to be reminded, and they have to learn how to respect the entity of this scarce thing, and it won't be there with us if we are not following some principles. So it's necessary to remind every action, revisit the same to check for any maintenances, leakages, and the 12 hours, if worked in an integrated manner, can definitely lead to a water neutral project. So friends, another slide that I'm coming to it, after all these R's, we can combine or integrate these R's with SDGs and green building concepts, talking of various E's, that is earth, ecosystem, environment, energy, economy, ecology, and also eco-fashion. So if we are trying and giving some fashionable touch to our strategies, believe me, they really sell well. And important part again remains is integration of all of this.